Evening, John.
Evening, Jimmy. Noise complaint.
Noise complaint. You, working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Buildmaster Ahmad here with another great Elden Ring build video. This week, Miyazaki has challenged me to build the angriest Western European dog lover of all time, John Wick. Now, many of you are thinking, Ahmad, there's no way you can make John Wick in Elden Ring. After all, he uses all those guns. And there's a profound lack of guns in Elden Ring. And you know what, viewer? You're right. There aren't any guns in this game, but don't worry, I've got a master plan to pull this off. How am I gonna do that? Well, you'll just have to watch the rest of the video to find out. So sit back, relax, and if this video gives you a laugh, then hitting the subscribe button would be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, it's time to make our very own John Wick and the lands between. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in order for me to best Miyazaki, I'll need to know the abilities and equipment that John Wick has. After all, we aren't simply going to make a suitable John Wick, we're going to make a perfect John Wick and prove that we are the boldest, bestest, and most mentally flexible builder that the lands between has ever known. Now, John Wick has an arsenal of ranged firearms, a big knife, a katana, a mastery over martial arts, the inability to die, and last but not least, John has a dog. Let's kick the building process off by looking at Mr. Wick's various melee weapons, as these were the easiest weapons to adapt from the films into Elden Ring. To mirror Mr. Wick's giant knife that he uses throughout the series, we will be using the Great Knife. Now you may be thinking, Ahmad, why are we using the Great Knife? What makes it better than, say, the Dagger or the Reduvia? And that, my humble viewer, is a great question. You see, the most important element for John's knife is that it has to be exceptional at stabbing other people. And that's the thing that makes the Great Knife the perfect selection. You see, Miyazaki foolishly stapled the review of the weapon in the prefix of the name. If it was a knife that wasn't good at stabbing people, it would just be called Knife, or maybe even Bad Knife. But instead, he placed a Yelp review in the prefix and called this weapon the Great Knife. Oh geez. Only one weapon in and we're already resulting to wordplay. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because it's about to get punny in here. Next, we can look at John's katana. Now, John finds himself in a katana duel to the death at the end of the third entry in the series. Now, John's katana is nothing really special. He's just effectively using a weapon soaked in its own normalcy. So, what better to represent a perfectly plain and basic katana than the Uchi katana? For both of these weapons, we will need to actively withhold from using the Ash of War. And you may be wondering, why would we do that, Ahmad? And that, my lovely viewer, is a great question. Let me answer it by asking you a question. In the John Wick series, how does John solve his problems? That's right, he solves his problems by just stabbing someone, or shooting someone, or, oh god, penciling someone? Jesus, John, think of the children. My point is that rarely is his solution to do some kind of fancy sword technique, or shoot magic missiles, or fire a giant golden laser beam out of the tip of his sword. He's a simple man. He just puts on his shoes and kills people just like everyone else. The good old-fashioned way. And what's the goodest, oldest, fashionedest way to kill your enemies in Elden Ring? That's right, to spam R1s until the opposition is dead, like the slobber-covered hominid you are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be quality infusing both of these weapons because John only uses weapons of the highest quality. Every scene where he's assembling his weapons, it's like he's shopping at a farmer's market of death. He only accepts locally sourced, grass-fed weapons of destruction, and our Mr. Wick will be no different and only accept weapons of the highest quality. Now that we've supported our local arms dealer and addressed the bladed weaponry, it's time to address John's martial arts ability. You see, throughout the John Wick series, we see Mr. Wick get in a number of scrapes and scuffles with various highly trained assassins. John employs a variety of skills ranging from jujitsu, judo, and boxing, but perhaps his most effective skill is a skill that I've coined TBS, or the tactical bitch slap. Oh no! Someone's trying to shoot John in the face, and tactical bitch slap. Another problem shows up, and tactical bitch slap. I think you understand, ladies and gentlemen. Any problem, big or small, tactical single bitch slap solves them all. In order to give our character the TBS ability, we will simply need to one-hand our weapon, so that at any moment we can press L1 and resolve our issues with our fists. Now, ladies and gentlemen, up to this point, the character has basically put itself together. Even the punnery that I implemented on some of the bladed weapons was more optional than required, a jab at the ease of Miyazaki's challenge as the character just continued to build itself. But that was all about to change. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the melee combat objects of the John Wick universe are largely last resorts to climax a big fight scene. John's usual weapon of choice is some kind of gun, and I don't know if you know this, but Elden Ring doesn't have any guns. There are bows and crossbows, but no Glock was found. I was in a pickle. Oh, Miyazaki, you rat devil, you! How dare you confound me with something as simple as a projectile firearm? I'm sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, but perhaps I've been bested. Maybe I can't make the perfect John Wick in Elden Ring. I might only be able to make a passable John Wick or a decent John Wick. I think that I might be defeated. No! I will not be defeated. I am a moderately outrageous dinosaur, gosh darn it. I bend the rules of practicality to my will. I morph the confines of the English language to suit my needs. I cannot, no! I will not be bested by the mere lack of a suitable alternative. So with that, I started doing some research. I began watching and re-watching the John Wick franchise, except the fourth one because that would be illegal and incredibly expensive, over and over again to identify any subtle clue I could find. Anything that I could use to distort reality. I looked at all the weapons that John used throughout the series, trying to see if I could find a logical bridge to ingest them into Elden Ring. And then I saw it. It was as clear as day. It was literally in the first movie, and it was literally staring me right in the face. In John Wick Chapter 1, John is shown with his shirt off, and we get to see the various tattoos all across his body. Most of these seem relatively inconspicuous, and most people would skip right over these tattoos and pay them no mind. But I saw a tattoo in the center of his back reading, Fortis Fortuna Juvat. This phrase is actually the official phrase of the US Marine Corps. It turns out that John was actually previously a member of the US Marines. Okay, I thought to myself, how does this fact of being in the Marines help me? Then it hit me. What is another term for Marines? Jarheads. Then it was also clear to me. Jarhead characters need a firearm that matches the power of their own porcelain. The Jarhead needs the Jar Cannon. That's right, Miyazaki. The few, the proud, the mother flippin' Jar Cannon. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, this build was back on track. Now we can do sick gun montages just like John. Let's rock, John. Okay, hold on. Almost done. And you see, by the time you finish your reload, you've killed just as many people as the actual John, because by the time you finish reloading, they've all died of old age. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the inability for John to die is an important topic to cover, but it is largely driven by our talisman selection, so we'll save that bit for later. For now, let's go and talk about the primary aspect of John's character, the fact that John owns a dog. That one is obviously very easy since we can simply use Blide. That's right, Wolverine killed Blide. I guess that one's on me, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well, this is a problem. A problem that we'll solve later. I guess we will be talking about talismans a little sooner than I thought. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most critical elements of John's character is that no matter how many times he has been stabbed, shot, or run over, he simply doesn't die. And it was through this insane human durability that drove me to my first talisman selection in Great Rune, the Crimson Amber Medallion and Radahn's Great Rune. The first rule of not dying is to have an astronomical amount of health to play with, and we will be pairing this talisman in Great Rune with a whopping 60 points in vigor to make sure that our red bar can reach all the way across the screen and block my field of view. But having a lot of health isn't enough. While re-watching the John Wick movies, I noticed that John's real power is that he actually is reinvigorated with every no-name assassin that he defeats. Look at this scene. John has been stabbed and is clearly not doing very well. And oh look, he killed some no-named extra in the film and he's as good as new. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what leads us to our next talisman, the Taker's Cameo. This talisman gives us health every time that we defeat an enemy, perfectly capturing the healing properties of overwhelming scorn and vengeance. Our next talisman will be the Arrow Sting talisman. Now, ladies and gentlemen, fighting with melee weapons is great, but we just spent several minutes diving into the depths of my own lunacy to arrive at a jar cannon. You best believe that I'm going to make sure that this thing does as much damage as humanly possible. The Arrow Sting talisman increases damage by a whopping 10%, allowing us to go from killing enemies in 2 arrow shots to still only being able to kill enemies with 2 arrow shots, but the numbers are slightly bigger. And of course, as it is with every stamina consuming build, our final talisman will be the Green Turtle talisman so that we can keep cranking out damage and dodges until the carpal tunnel sets in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can see on the screen the build spreadsheet. As always, my builds go up to rune level 160 because that's just the level you can reach by exploring all of the lands between, which I highly recommend. But for those of you looking for a level 120 variant, that is provided on the screen now. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you build John Wick. But why do I feel like I'm missing something? Oh crap. The dog. Oh crap, if I don't find a dog, then Miyazaki's gonna win. What am I gonna do? Wait, what? What is this on the... what? Behold dog? Behold dog? Behold dog? Yes!
Behold!